So here is a solution, and the NuGet which we need to use for Okta authentication is okta.esp.net core. Install the third one. I have already installed in my project. You can also check whether it is installed or not. Click on Solution Explorer, and under Dependencies, under Packages, you can see. So let's hit the code, open the app settings, and define the configuration for your Okta domain, Okta client, and Okta client secret. So open the program file, and here you can see earlier I added a configuration for basic authentication. So let's remove and create a new configuration for Okta authentication. Description could be anything, a message which display on the authorized button. Give the name, passing this authorization token on header, and type as should be API key. Add the requirements. So here you can see I've added a basic authentication configuration. So let's remove this and add for Okta authentication. Before adding the Okta authentication, let's create a one model which is Okta setting. It is nothing, just what are the configuration we added into our app settings. We create a model for it so we can easily access those properties like client ID and client secret. So let's create the properties. Client ID, it should be string. Client secret, domain, authorization server ID, and audience. Inject the after that I'm going to inject this model into our services, so I can easily access that model in our controller via dependency injection. Default sign-in scheme. So for this we have to get all the Okta settings into our one variable. So let's fetch it from configuration. So it gives me Okta settings, all the properties of Okta settings. I can directly access those properties with their value. So it is done. Now add the authorization. So it is all set regarding Okta configuration. Now create one controller. I'm creating with the name of account. Here you can create any method. It is a method with which called from the API. It is HTTP GET. We have to create one service where we write the logic related to it, and the interface where we define our method and provide the abstraction so we can hide our logic implementation. So here we only do the declaration of the method, and we can inherit that iToken service into our token service class and do all the logic there. So add one class with the name of token service, inherit with iToken service, we also need a response model which will return from the Okta endpoint when we call the Okta API to get the access token, and in return it will return some response. So let's create the response model first, and so let's inject the service for dependency injection. So our application know that we have one interface and token service. These are the properties which we get from the Okta API response while accessing the token. So here we need one more thing, the Okta settings, which we injected into our service in program.cs file. So let's inject it here in the constructor as well, so we can access it. I already written down the logic to hit the Okta API, so let's not waste our time and copy it down. So it is Okta response. Replace the Okta settings with the options which we injected into our constructor, and it is the logic and the request which we need to hit the Okta API to get the access token. So our service is ready. Let's inject the iToken service into our constructor so we can access the method and controller. Call that method which we created in our service. Pass the username and password because authentication ticket is generated based on the username and password. So our API configuration is almost done. And our endpoint is ready to be tested. So let's rebuild the code. And let's run it. So our Swagger is ready. So here you can see we have created one account controller, and inside an account controller we created one action method to get the access token, and we have one controller which is student to get the list of students. So now we do not have the access token. Let's try to hit the student API whether we are able to get the result or not. So here we get the 401 error. It means user is unauthorized to access the API. So let's create the token, enter the credential, the user you entered here, it must be registered in Okta application while configuring the application in Okta organization. Else you will not get the access token from Okta API if the user is not active or registered in Okta application. Execute it. So here API returned the access token. Copy the token, pass it with bearer and authorize. Now again try to access the get student API because now it is authenticated. Here you can see the lock icon. So our API is logged now. So API return 200 because API endpoint is authorized with our access token, and it returned the list of students. So Swagger is working fine and Okta API access token is also configured properly. If you find this helpful, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.